Hello, this is the third week in our series of short videos during the month of Elul, where we discuss topics that are important for the coming High Holy Days. This week's topic is the subject of repentance, or returning, or turning back towards God. So the Hebrew word chet, we often translate into English as sin, but sin has this mysterious sort of supernatural, spectral sort of feel to it, like sin is something cosmic that we've done wrong. But the word chet in Hebrew can also mean to miss the mark. Like if you are an archer and you're shooting your bow and arrow, it's when your arrow misses the target. And so in that sense, teshuvah, returning, is actually like re-aiming your bow and arrow so that you can hit the target and hit the bullseye. And I think that that's a more helpful way for us to think about repentance and during these days. It's not that we've done most of us haven't committed any cosmic sins, any disastrous or horrible things. Most of us have just made ordinary mistakes because we're human beings and everybody makes a mistake. So it's really like we've missed the mark. We haven't been our best selves. We haven't hit the bullseye in our lives. And so this period of time leading up to the High Holy Days is an opportunity for us to re-aim, to see where we've missed, how we've missed, and how we can re-aim our bow and arrow so that next time during this coming year, we'll hit the bullseye more often. Obviously, we're never going to be perfect. So returning or repentance is teshuvah, and this idea is not just a returning to our best selves, it's also returning to a wholesome relationship with our friends and our family and our neighbors, and it's also returning to a good relationship with God. And the elements of it require us to, first of all, realize that we've made a mistake, admit that we've made a mistake, regretting having made a mistake, confessing what we have done to the person that we have wronged, and then apologizing, and finally making restitution, doing something to try and make up to the person that we have hurt in a way that is significant. Now, if it's just a minor thing you've done, you've insulted somebody, that's not necessarily minor depending, but if you've done something that's relatively minor, you may just want to say to them, gee, I'm really sorry I did this. Be as specific as you can. I'm sorry I did this particular thing. I know that must have really hurt you. I feel bad that I did that. Let me try and make it up to you. If it's something a little more serious, you may want to come with some kind of a gift or some positive action that you can take that shows that you're serious about having done something wrong. And then finally, you resolve to do better in the future. In the Jewish tradition, when you do something wrong against another person, we also see it as a wrong that you have committed against God, because after all, that other person is also one of God's creatures. And so that's what Yom Kippur is for. After having apologized to all our friends and our family and our people we work with, we come on Yom Kippur to God and say, gee, we really feel bad. We did these things. We have tried to make it up to them. Now we want to make it up to you. We promise that we will do better. At the end of the book of Lamentations, there's a famous sentence that we often quote on Yom Kippur, on the Day of Atonement. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha, return us, O God, towards you, vinashuva, and we will return. Chadesh yamenu kekedem, renew our days as of old. And this signifies the idea that if we begin the process of turning back towards God, re-aiming our bows and arrows, God will help us to aim even better. So it's a two-step process. We make the first step forward, God meets us halfway and helps us to get to the next step. Which step do you think is the most difficult part of repentance? Which is the hardest? Acknowledging that you've done something wrong, regretting that you've made a mistake, apologizing, or making restitution? I often find that I know for sure when I did something wrong. I'm very self-critical. Sometimes it's not so easy for me to admit it. One of the things I've learned over the last 6 months staying at home with my family is that we all need to learn how to apologize when we do something wrong, and I'm getting better at it. So apologizing, trying to make it up to the other person. Another thing I've found difficult, but I'm getting better at, is doing that in emails. I know it's so easy to write a flaming email to somebody and then hit the send button just a little bit too soon before you've had time to think about it. And then you feel bad that you said some things that you said in the email. So that's another area where it's difficult, but if we just take a little time before we hit the send button and think about it and edit the email, make it a little nicer. Another thing I've noticed many people doing on Facebook, that the comments people make sometimes to each other, people they don't even know, are very harsh and cruel and really unnecessary. Something we should all consider thinking about. There's a real person at the other end of that comment. And if we were to look into their eyes and say the things that we write, would we be saying the same things? Would we be writing the same things? These are some of the questions we can be asking ourselves in the coming weeks as we prepare for the high holy days and we return to God as he helps us to return so that we can renew our days as of old.